Hello, welcome to the Mediumship Mini Course. I am Emily Stroya, spiritual teacher, author, and founder of the online spiritual school called the Intuitive Soul Academy, where I teach students how to discover their spiritual gifts through intuition, mediumship, and other holistic tools and practices. I'm so excited to share this video series with you. What you're going to learn in this course is what is mediumship, common signs from spirit, so common signs of mediumship, common signs that your spirit loved ones are around, common cues that spirit loved ones are around as well, how to connect with spirit, and also a bonus visualization for you to connect with your spirit loved ones. So the Mediumship Mini Course is my insight and tools and a little snippet of what mediumship can be for us. So I see it as a practical tool for our daily living so that we can live more holistic, fulfilled, and intuitively guided lives. So it sounds pretty wonderful, right? So let's begin. Okay, so the first thing to know is to understand what mediumship is. So a lot of times my students and clients will come to me and they're a little confused because they have heard psychic, they've heard mediumship. They're not really sure like what the difference is. So a medium is someone who has the ability to telepathically communicate with past loved ones through sensation, through symbol, through imagery, through sound, through smell, and through taste. So it is a lot of a dialogue that is communicated through the mind and experienced through the mind and the body. So I like to think of it almost as if it's a code that we're deciphering, that we're interpreting, and it's just a compilation of different feelings, sensations, thoughts, smells, tastes, and they're not physically manifesting, but it's as if they are there. And to me, it's like translating one language to another. So I'm translating this code, deciphering it, interpreting it to the best of my knowledge, and then I'm translating that into a language that you and I can both understand. So it's a pretty amazing experience, and you do not have to be a professional medium to have this kind of experience, right? You don't need to be someone who has been in the work of mediumship for over 20, 30 years to have an experience of a supernatural experience with spirit, right? Of your loved one who has passed. So mediumship is this communication with an intelligence, with an energetic form, a soul, perhaps a consciousness, somebody who lived the earth at one point, and we have this ability to still be able to possibly communicate with them. You know, it hasn't been falsely proven, and it hasn't been proven that is true. So it's still this theory that we have been investigating for so many years, but it has been around literally for so many years. So it's basically ancient information that we just are still connecting to and exploring even to this day. So lots of people report that they have these supernatural experiences of their loved ones who have passed, and they are not, in a mediumship course or a practicing medium who works professionally with people, but you can still have these types of experiences, and they're just as valid and real as somebody who, like me, works with clients and students all the time and teaching them these tools for their lives. So that's some insight on what mediumship is and what a medium is, and some of the important things to know about, whether or not you have to be a medium to have these experiences. Do you have to be born with a gift? No, not at all. Those are just myths that have been created over the years, and honestly, like they're not really valid or true anymore, because people may have never had any supernatural experience growing up, and then as they've gotten older, something has happened, a loved one passed, and then they started to feel this presence around them, So just some things to note here is what is mediumship, and some of the myths around it that need to be debunked. So moving on, why would we want to practice mediumship? So for one, I think that mediumship is a really awesome tool to enhance our lives. So it brings us wisdom. It gives us wisdom to ourselves. It gives us wisdom to our ancestors. It gives us wisdom to our loved ones who are passed. So it gives us some insight, some guidance about what our ancestors are doing, what the possibility of an afterlife is like. And so they're naturally, what it boils down to is just insight. So practicing mediumship really comes down to one, insight and guidance. So you might practice mediumship because you need some answers and you're confused or you're at a turning point, or you just really want to cultivate a deeper relationship to yourself, to your spirituality, to your life, to the earth, to consciousness as a whole. And so you seek out tools such as mediumship as a way to do that. Okay, so another reason why we practice mediumship is to connect with our ancestors and past loved ones, right? So that we can still feel them around, so that we can still feel this connection to our lineage, to maybe some tools and wisdom that our lineage practiced that we didn't know about, and otherwise we found through mediumship some really profound insight. The next reason is also learning about the afterlife. So sometimes learning about death, learning about possibly what happens to the soul? Is there a soul? Where does the soul go? What is beyond the earth plane? What is beyond this human life that we live? And how do we continue to exist? In what ways? And what is another life like, possibly in another form? And so mediumship gives us a little bit of theory and insight to consider. I know that for one, in my sessions as a medium, like some of the things that I've learned, I would have never thought of before prior to, I didn't read in a book. And it was something that just sort of I downloaded in my sessions. So it was something really interesting for me. It was like interesting knowledge to take in and say, I'll give that some thought. I'll consider that as like possible theory of what the afterlife could be like. So another reason why we practice mediumship is healing grief and loss. This is a huge one. Oftentimes clients and students come to me and they are in these transition states where they're healing their grief and their loss. And they are looking for tools. They're looking for any type of tools, whether it's holistic tools, Western medicine, Eastern medicine, holistic practices, shamanism. And those tools help them live a healthier life, help them shift from their depression, help them let go of resentment or anger, transform their belief on the afterlife, transform their belief about their loved one who passed away. And so it brings them healing. It transforms their lives. And so we practice mediumship so that we can live a life a little bit easier, so that we can have a little bit more of an easier life and be full, have less suffering. So mediumship gives us a little bit of a tool to say, hey, you don't have to suffer, because there could be this possibility that life continues on and that we can connect with each other still. We can still communicate with each other in various different forms, right? So another reason also is personal calling. So you just have been drawn to mysticism, you've been drawn to the spiritual arts, you've been curious about mediums, and you feel this calling to explore it. And so that's where the journey begins. And then finally, finding comfort and guidance. So I've referred to guidance a couple of times here, but also it brings us comfort. It brings us comfort to know that we're not alone. It brings us comfort to know that possibly we have some loved ones in spirit who are by our sides, who know what we're up to. And so there is this sense of comfort and peace that we can receive from practicing mediumship. So those are some of the amazing benefits to connecting with spirit, connecting to your intuition, and really cultivating this relationship to what spirit means to you, to the universe, to your spirit loved ones in another form, and really developing that cognizance to know when they're around, and so that you can really receive that feeling and that presence and that graceful sense of knowing that, hey, I'm not alone, they're still here in some way, shape, or form. So that sums up this video. I will see you in the next video.